greatest football team. You take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.
Yes, good evening. This is Big Earl Campbell talking Miami Dolphins football. I will not only be talking about the Miami Dolphins, I will also be talking about the Florida Marlins, the Florida Panthers. I know very little about hockey, but I love a little bit of hockey also. The Florida Panthers right now getting all ready to play the New York Rangers in the semifinals for the Stanley Cup, or to get to the Stanley Cup. But I also want to talk a little Miami Heat and talk about even football, all sports in Miami. And who can forget our beloved Miami Marlins? We have a great player from the Bahamas, Josh Chisholm, who's playing for the Miami Marlins and who's playing some really, really good football down there in Miami. I will also be covering sports in the Bahamas, talking about various sports in the Bahamas. We have a lot of track and field. We have a lot of track athletes playing who is running on the national scene. And we also have other local sports here on the island of Exuma and throughout the entire Bahamas. So from time to time, I'll be touching those things also. But I just want to say good evening to all my fans out there. I'm trying to draw that support and see if I could get my talk show going as we talk about sports in general. But one of my biggest love and main concerns that I will be addressing, I guess more often than not, is the Miami Dolphins. And also, I love golf. And my most favorite player is the great Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods. And you know, Tiger Woods' dad, his name is Earl. So I can identify with the name Earl. You know, he came from good stock, especially coming from a name like Earl. So, and you know, Tiger Woods is, in my opinion, the greatest golfer ever lived, even though he doesn't have the majors. Jack Nicklaus, who has, I think, about 3 more majors than Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is trying to tie his record. But in the meantime, I will, tonight I'll be talking about tour, #1, tour. See, I'm wearing the tour jersey right now from the Miami Dolphins. I love talking about tour and the great things tour has done as the Miami Dolphins playing in the aqua and the white and the orange jersey and that I love so much, as you know, we watched the Miami Dolphins play over the many, many years. I just want to bring to your attention that I am from the great island of from Cat Island, Arthurstown, Cat Island, island in the Bahamas, central Bahamas. I grew up in Cat Island and I started watching football in Cat Island. As a matter of fact, I could recall listening to football on the radio. Back then you had an AM, FM radio, and you turn that radio on and you listen to sports. We listen to baseball, listen to basketball, listen to football, every sport imaginable, just listening on the radio. And back in those days, a brother of mine by the name of Earl Campbell, also known as Big Bull Campbell. He was one of the person who caused me to be so much into sports, because he was heavily into baseball. Not only baseball, but he was one of the greatest softball players in the island of Cat Island growing up in high school. I could remember my brother just hitting home run after home run on the softball field located in Arthurstown near the high school. And ever since he started playing softball, he and I used to go in the backyard and just take the tennis ball and hit. We throw tennis ball after tennis ball, practicing the different types of pitches, the fastball, curveball, slider, whatever you could imagine. We threw as hard as we could throw it, thinking we were playing in the major leagues at a very young age in Arthurstown, Cat Island. And because of him, you know, I love baseball so much. I ended up playing baseball. I played a little bit of baseball in South Florida when I went to high school there in South Florida. And my brother took it a step further, because he not only played locally in Nassau baseball, but he ended up playing at St. Augustine's College in North Carolina. So he played at the college level, playing baseball, a game that he loved so much. But I can remember when he was growing up, he really loved, I think it was the Baltimore Orioles. And then over the years, I noticed that he is a big fan of the New York Yankees. Big fan of the New York Yankees. So, and after he started following the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles, I was a Kansas City Royals fan. I remember there was a pitcher named Brett Saberhagen, and George Brett was another player. He was one of the offensive stars for the Kansas City Royals back in those days in the 80s, and probably sometimes during the 90s. But I could remember Brett Saberhagen being a superstar pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. But as I got older, I started putting for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Love watching the Dodgers. And back in the 80s, I can remember a great left-hander who looked up to the skies and looked back down, closed his eyes, and then he delivered a pitch. Big left-hander by the name of Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando Valenzuela, who won a number of games for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he had a unique pitch, which wasn't used so much back then. He had a pitch they called a screwball. It was thrown at the reverse angle of a curveball. So if you had the capability of playing the arm the other way, and the ball breaks on outside of the plate rather than breaking down on inside, according to what side of the plate the hitter is on. But he threw that screwball to break off the left side of the plate, so he could get hitters out. He's very effective for a number of years before he ended up having Tommy John surgery some years later. But I watched him, and then the great Earl Campbell, who played for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who won a number of games for the Dodgers, is very, very effective. Big right-hand pitcher. He wasn't that big, but he was big with a number of wins for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But as the years went on, I started to pull for different teams. The Florida Marlins came along, and Charlie Huff, the great knuckleballer, Charlie Huff, was the pitcher who opened the Miami Marlins back then. They were called the Florida Marlins. I don't know why they aren't still called the Florida Marlins rather than the Miami Marlins. But he was the first pitcher who pitched for the Florida Marlins back then, and he opened the season. And I can remember the Marlins winning that first game, which was thrown by a knuckleballer by the name of Charlie Huff. And back in the 80s, there was always a rivalry with the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. Half of the Bahamas were Laker fans and half were Boston Celtic fans. And I love the Boston Celtics because I didn't like the Lakers too much, but I love the Boston Celtics and Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, got Seasting, and who else? Danny Ainge and Robert Parrish and all of those great players who played for the Boston Celtics against Lakers, Magic Johnson and the Lakers. Magic had James Worthy. He had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He had a few more very good players for the Lakers who played at a very high level, especially when they played the Boston Celtics. But I can remember Bird winning a few of those series. The Lakers winning a few of those series. There's always a clash between Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, the great Larry Bird. Bird for three. And Magic Johnson, coming down the lane and hitting a few players with his hand and a few with his leg to get clearance to get the hoop and put the ball inside the rim. But Magic was an awesome passer. He was one of the biggest point guards I've ever seen play the game of basketball. One of the biggest point guards I've ever seen play the game of basketball. He was an awesome player. I must say he was an awesome player. And on those fast break, man, look here, those no-look passes from half court or from beyond half court, you look one way and the ball goes the next way. Sometimes even fool the cameraman. Imagine that. Sometimes even fool the cameraman. So imagine watching the Lakers play against the Boston Celtics. It was what they call it back then, the 80s, showtime. It was showtime. But as the years roll on, the Lakers weren't that good. The Boston Celtics sort of born water off after Bird would have retired. And then you have the Lakers who lost against the Chicago Bulls, led by Michael Jordan. So after the Boston Celtics couldn't do anything much more with the Lakers, and they went off the scene because Bird ended up with a back injury. The Lakers ended up playing the Chicago Bulls, and Jordan was in his prime, or very early in his prime, and was unstoppable. I could never forget the play called by Marv Albert. A spectacular move by Jordan. So imagine all that going on back in those days. But it was awesome watching the Lakers, awesome watching the Chicago Bulls and what have you, and seeing them in action. It was very entertaining back in those days. For some reason, I believe it was more entertaining back then compared to now. But players retire, and we have new players come on the scene. And when new players come on the scene, a lot of good things happen too. But when a player would have made a legacy for himself, a player like Michael Jordan, a player like Larry Bird, a player like Isaiah Thomas, and the bad boys from Detroit, who won two championships, back-to-back championships. I can remember them beating the Lakers in one of those championships. I don't remember the next team they played against to win their second championship. But I remember them beating the Lakers in one of those championships. They won back-to-back. But it was always a fight with Detroit, the Detroit Pistons. They had Isaiah Thomas, they had John Sally, they had Dennis Rodman, they had Lambert, who was always ready to go on a fight. That was just their style of playing, and it was awesome just watching that. But the league had to tighten up on the rules when it came to Detroit and the type of basketball Detroit played. And I remember back in those days they had a defense called for Michael Jordan, the Jordan defense. So whatever a type of basketball they played, it was a design defense just to stop Michael Jordan. So it was an awesome time during the 80s and going into the 90s watching Detroit. But as I mentioned, as we went along, remember in Florida they ended up having the Florida Marlins, and as you went along, they had the Miami Heat. So they was going to need me to pull for the Chicago Bulls, the Boston Celtics, and all those other basketball teams, because I had a team right next door to me, right next door to us in Miami, the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat didn't win the championship until Dwayne Wade came along, and Dwayne Wade won a championship. He, along with Alonzo Mourning, winning the first championship for the Miami Heat, beating the Dallas Mavericks. Correct, the Dallas Mavericks. And then some years later, the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade had the big three. Two other players joined him. You had LeBron James, and then the other player who came to join them too, and they ended up winning two championships with that team. But overall, the Heat has been going back to the championship over and over again the last couple of years, but they don't have the firepower. It's going to take more than Butler to take them to the championship. You need some more superstar power to assist Butler in getting to the championship. Right now, they need some help, and this season wasn't that good of a season. They didn't play too good, and they didn't go too far in the playoffs. They got knocked out in the first round, and I didn't expect them to go any further because they weren't playing that good anyway, and they weren't playing that level of basketball. So it is better for them to be out of the playoffs and home, relaxing, hopefully getting better by getting some free agents in there to play some basketball, and not only get some free agents, probably through a draft, through the NBA draft, getting a good player in the first round of the NBA draft, and hopefully that team will be back to go deep in the playoffs in Miami, so we can draw that support and get them going again. But let me tell you what's happening in Florida now. We have the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers playing some good hockey. I was never really a great hockey fan because I didn't understand hockey compared to watching basketball, football, baseball, golf, and what have you. But there's some things I still need to learn about the game of hockey. And the most exciting thing is watching them score. And you know, one of the most difficult things in hockey is to watch them score. One of the most difficult things in hockey is to have a team score, because it takes a little while before they're able to get that puck into the net, because so many players, and play very good defense in the net. So it's very difficult to get them in, get that puck into the net and play some very good hockey. I see one of my good friends, Steve Wilson, Administrator Steve Wilson, is trying to reach me right now, and I just want to let Steve know that I'm live on YouTube, so you can just click into my channel, and my channel is Big Earl PhinsUp, and you just go in there and you can check me right now. Right now, I'm in the middle of doing my show. And of course, Mr. Wilson, we will talk. But go on YouTube and join me on YouTube for about a few minutes and watch me live and in action here on YouTube. If you cannot find me, just go to @Earl Campbell 1756 @Earl Campbell 1756, and you will see me there on YouTube. I'm right now in the middle of getting the show started. I know you're not a great sports fan, but whatever sports you like, you know, come on and join me. And I will hit you up right after the show. My show will be on for the next 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, I will get in contact with you right now. Hit me up on YouTube, and you see me live in action talking Miami football. We're also talking about baseball. We're talking about basketball. We're talking about golf. We're talking about Bahamian Sports. We're talking about everything on this channel. So hit me up, Mr. Wilson, and I'll get back to you about 9 o'clock right now. So let me just get off and continue my show. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. I'll hit you about 9 o'clock. Yes, sir. All right. So here we are. I have one of my great supporters, one of my big fans are there, not only for sports, but for also being an island administrator. Yes. In addition to me loving sports, I'm also the island administrator for the Exuma Keys, Ragged Island, and the Keys, Ragged Island, and mainland Exuma, as mentioned. So I'm here, and in my downtime, this is what I love doing. I have a few TikTok videos there, talking about the Miami Dolphins, talking about the Miami Heat, talking about a little baseball with Jazz Chisholm from Miami, who is from Nassau, who is doing some great things. So hit me up, hit the subscribe button, send me a message, let me know how you feel about the show, what things you can talk about, whatever you want to talk about, but my main topic this evening, and I'm just getting into it, I'm going to be talking about the Tua situation. Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. The quarterback from the Miami Dolphins, who was drafted number 5 by the Miami Dolphins back in, I think that was just about 3 years ago, because he's gone into his 4th season as a Miami Dolphins quarterback. And there are some things going on with the Miami Dolphins right now with Tua, and for some reason, the Miami Dolphins, they're taking long to pull the trigger. It shows me that the Miami Dolphins do not have, just like my twin brother would say, my twin brother who was there in Canada, and he would say, you have no scrotum fortitude. Whenever you hear that phrase, scrotum fortitude, you are referring to you have no balls. Have no balls. And right now, the Miami Dolphins organization, they're showing that they have no balls. All right, things need to be done in Miami, and hopefully the organization will have the balls and quickly sign Tua Tagovailoa. I'm trying to figure out why they are taking so long to sign Tua Tagovailoa. They had the whole off season to sign Tua Tagovailoa. They still haven't signed the greatest passer right now in the last couple of years in Miami. As a matter of fact, in the NFL, this quarterback led the league in passing, and still he has not been signed by, right now he's in the last year of his contract. His contract is up and he still has not been signed by the Miami Dolphins. I'm trying to figure out what is taking so long for the Miami Dolphins to sign Tua. And for some reason, there are some things that are concerned. There's some trepidation as it relates to signing Tua. But I'm trying to figure out why are they taking so long to sign Tua. I have my twin brother on the line right now. Hey, twin, what's happening? How are you doing? Yes, I'm talking Miami Dolphins football. I'm talking Bahamian Sports. I'm talking basketball, baseball, golf, and everything live on YouTube. So if you have a few minutes, click into my YouTube channel and say hi so I can introduce you to the general public. Let them know I have a twin brother there who's doing a good job down there in Canada as a priest. So I'm asking you to chime in, say hi to everybody. And we can take it from there. But I'll be talking a little bit more about Tua. So let's see what's happening when it comes to Tua. Because right now, Tua, for some reason, I don't believe Tua is he doesn't have the respect. He doesn't have the respect from the Miami Dolphins organization. All right, he doesn't have the respect. Whenever they have some respect for Tua in Miami, then Tua will be out there and Tua will be showing what he can do in Miami because he did an awesome job last year as a Miami Dolphins. Not only last year, as a matter of fact, he did an awesome job the year before. And if you look at Tua record compared to a lot of these other teams' record, Tua has one of the best winning percentages in the NFL. The best winning percentage in the NFL. And if he has the best winning percentage in the NFL, why isn't Tua being signed? Why are they taking so long? Information just in the last 2 days I saw online and watching a sports channel 7 Sports, WSBN. The Miami Dolphins offered Tua a contract and it was rejected. And it was rejected by the Miami Dolphins. It was rejected. Why? How could you reject? Why would Tua reject a contract by the Miami Dolphins? And I'm going to tell you why he rejected it. He rejected it because he was totally embarrassed by the amount of money the Miami Dolphins was willing to pay him. The Miami Dolphins, on the going price on the market right now for quarterbacks in the NFL, is $45 to $50 million per year. $45 to $50 million a year. Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs is right now receiving $47 million a year. And with incentives, he could receive up to $50 million a year. And he has a contract for the next 10 years. 10 years. $500 million. All right, so imagine the kind of money he's getting, and imagine other quarterbacks who played much better football than Patrick Mahomes last season. His QBR rating was higher than Patrick Mahomes. He threw for 4,600. Just let me make sure I give you the correct figure. That he threw for last season. Tua threw for 4,624 yards. 4,624 yards. All right? So imagine that. And his completion percentage, 69.3. 69.3. And this man does not have a contract. I'm trying to figure out what does he need to do to convince the Miami Dolphins. I could understand the Dolphins is a little bit apprehensive about signing Tua because they look at his injury history over the last couple of years. I know the year before last that he had a season whereby he had some injuries, and because of the injuries, he wasn't able to play the whole season. But listen to this, my fans out there. Tua threw for over 3,000 yards in an injury-ridden season in Miami. Over 3,000. So he threw for more yards than quite a few quarterbacks who played the whole season. So imagine if he was injured, imagine if he wasn't injured, how much more yards he would have thrown for that year. That was in 2022. And in 2023, he set records. He broke records, even broke some of Dan Marino records. And right now, the concern is why the Dolphins hasn't signed Tua. You have Jared Goff, who I think was already given a contract, all right, for almost 50,000 or 50,000, 50 million. I'm making a big mistake, not 50,000, $50 million. $50 million. And he, $50 million plus. And he does not have the same stats that Tua has. He doesn't have the same stats that Tua have. And the thing is, he's been given all that money. Now you have Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're contemplating giving him about $50 million also. But when you look at Trevor Lawrence threw for over 4,000 yards, and he threw for 21 touchdowns last year. He didn't throw for as much yards as Tua. Didn't throw for as many touchdowns as Tua. His completion percentage wasn't as good as Tua. Tua completion percentage was 69.3, and Lawrence completion percentage was 65.6. So the same thing did not happen. All right, the same thing did not happen. And the thing is, the Dolphins right now, they're still playing this cat and mouse game, and Tua had to tell them, man, we cannot. Come on now, come on. The Dolphins has to do better. The Dolphins has to do better. Because right now, if another team picks up Tua, that's it. Tua was the best quarterback in Miami since Dan Marino. The best quarterback in Miami since Dan Marino. There's not one quarterback as good as Tua since Dan Marino. This quarterback has pocket awareness. Not only pocket awareness, he throws with precision. He throws with precision. And not only with precision, mind you, he throws with great anticipation. Great anticipation. And the thing is, the Dolphins still is playing around and would not sign Tua. All right? What is it going to take for Miami Dolphins to sign Tua? Right now, Tua still short of. I must show Tua a lot of respect. You know, other players and other teams, if they didn't get that money or they weren't signed, they wouldn't show up for OTAs. And Tua didn't show up for all of the OTAs, but he showed up Tuesday this week. All right, he showed up Tuesday this week. It wasn't Tuesday, probably Monday, but he showed up this week for OTAs. And then he had an absent apology where he had to go and support Nick Saban. Remember Nick Saban coached the Miami Dolphins, who also coached the Alabama Crimson Tide football. He was Tua coach when Tua won the national championship as a rookie. All right, but he had to go and support him. And not only him, Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia Eagles played for Nick, support him also. And now there are some suggestions out there, or some fans are saying Tua is boycotting because he didn't get his contract and he's waiting for this money. But Tua is not boycotting. Tua is a true sport. You must give Tua some respect. Tua is a true sport. He is there and he came to OTAs and he will return and be present because he understands that winning is much, much more important than getting a contract signed for right now. And he has to be there to put in the work. And he has shown the Dolphins that he is not like other players. Other players have been still boycotting and not showing up for practices, still boycotting, not working out privately as Tua has been doing. Information is that Tua lost some weight over this preseason and is going in there, I guess, much quicker and I guess could run probably much faster with him being, I guess, lighter and with all that weight, not a whole lot of weight, because he isn't an extremely big quarterback, but information that he lost some weight and he's getting ready for the season. But my problem is Chris Greer and Stephen Ross, they need to get this deal done and get this deal done quickly. They need to get this deal done and get it done quickly. If they don't get it done, we cannot go into the season still talking about money for the quarterback. All right? There's no quarterback who played as well for the Miami Dolphins as Tua. No quarterback played as well for the Miami Dolphins as Tua. And we had quite a few Dolphin quarterbacks who was there. And if you all can remember, I have a few of their names right here. We had Theo Lemon, and everybody should know. You imagine having a quarterback by the name of Theo Lemon. He was a lemon. He was a lemon. And then you have Gus Perot. Perot reminds me of someone being rotten and not good at all. Gus Perot wasn't that good. He didn't last so long. Then you have Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington, he reminds me of, you ever watched the one-hit wonders with musicians who had just this one big hit and they never got another hit after that? Chad Pennington reminds me of a one-hit wonder. And Chad Pennington was that quarterback who played some years ago for the Miami Dolphins and had that one big season, and they were unstoppable. The reason why they were unstoppable because Miami Dolphins, I remember that coach introducing something they called the Wildcat. And nobody, no football team could have stopped the Wildcat. And they played that the whole season. They ended up winning the AFC East. But what happened after that? They ended up getting beat in the playoffs. I think the Baltimore Ravens might have beat the Dolphins back then, if I'm not mistaken. But they ended up getting beat in the playoffs. After all that winning, and teams deciphered, and teams were able to figure out how to stop the Wildcat, and that was it for the Dolphins and the Wildcat. After that, the Dolphins went away from the Wildcat, and they weren't that good in seasons to come. And then they had Joey Harrington, just a waste of time. Then they had Dante Culpepper. There was nothing pepper about Dante Culpepper. There was no spice in that pepper. That pepper had snap, crackle, and no pork. That pepper had snap, crackle, and no pork. All right? And that didn't go too far. And I can remember it was Nick Saban. Nick Saban was the coach of Dante Culpepper. And at the time, he wanted Drew Brees because Drew Brees was on the market, recovering from, I think, Tommy John injury to his elbow or shoulders. And after he had his surgery, it was a choice between Dante Culpepper and Drew Brees. And the Dolphins organization didn't agree too much with Nick Saban. Nick Saban really wanted Drew Brees, but the doctors and the medical staff from the Miami Dolphins said the best quarterback to get at the time was Dante Culpepper. What a disaster. What a horrible mistake. He had no legs. He could not run. His game was based on running and throwing. So running part of it was taken away from him because he had an injury that wasn't healed properly. And he just didn't have it. And the Dolphins lost big time that season. Nick Saban lasted about 2 years in Miami. And then he was out there and told one of the biggest lies in history of football after he was asked where he was going. And he said he was not going to be the Alabama head coach. And a few days later, come to find out, Nick Saban just dropped the Miami Dolphins. Just like that. A very good coach, and I respect him a lot, but he wasn't truthful. And that's one thing I think that would stain the legacy of Nick Saban. But Nick Saban ended up being one of the best, or probably the best college football coach ever, because he won quite a few national championships with Alabama, and he won with another, I think it's LSU, if I'm not mistaken, probably LSU. He coached LSU before he coached the Alabama Crimson Tide. All right. Then after that, we had John Beck. John Beck was horrible. But John Beck, I heard he's doing some good things right now. And he wasn't a good quarterback. He played horrible, very horrible for the Miami. Who was picking those players for the Miami Dolphins in that draft? He needed a quarterback. And we got this quarterback named John Beck. John Beck. John Beck going nowhere. John Beck absolutely nowhere. John Beck wasn't a good quarterback. He was a horrible quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. And right now he is a part of some system or some club or some organization that teaches or coaches quarterbacks and or assist them in being the very best pro quarterback. And when I heard that Tua was a part of his training program, I was suspect about it, but come to find that he has a good reputation because I heard Tom Brady and other quarterbacks would have been to his camp or the organization that he's part of, that grooms quarterback to be very good, high profile, good quarterbacks. So that's what's happening now with the Miami Dolphins. We have Mr. James Moss on the line. We have the superintendent of police right now online, but I'm in the middle of my talk show on YouTube talking sports here in Exuma. Mr. Moss, do you want to chime in? Well, Mr. Moss, right now I'm talking Dolphins football, and you need to have a little bit more respect for the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins will be in the Super Bowl coming up next season, and I have you recorded, so I will play this recording back in a year's time to show you that the Miami Dolphins will be in the Super Bowl. Yes, as soon as I get off this talk show, I should be off in the next 20 minutes, 24 minutes. I should be finished with this talk show. We still talking Miami Dolphins football. We have Superintendent Moss, a great sports fan here on the island of Exuma, who takes care of. Nobody covers the island like Mr. James Moss. He covers the island better than Zedna sometimes. So I must give all that respect to Mr. James Moss, our Chief Superintendent, not only our Chief Superintendent or Commissioner of Police here on the island. But I will touch base with you, Mr. Moss, as soon as I'm finished with this show. I'm in the middle of my show right now. But thank you very much for calling. I will call you. Thank you very much, sir. All right. Yes, so we have quite a few things to discuss as we continue talking about the Miami Dolphins and Tua. And like I told you, Tua is doing an awesome job. He is doing an awesome job with the fans in Miami. They're still trying to figure out why the Dolphins has not signed Tua. Why the Dolphins has not signed Tua, and that remains to be seen. And hopefully the Dolphins will do the just and right thing to sign Tua. And I'm going to make noise. I'm going to agitate as much as possible from the Bahamas to talk about Tua and to find out exactly why the Dolphins has not signed Tua. So please, if you have some spare time, come on, hit me up in my chat. We're talking Miami Dolphins football, and I'm also going to be talking about baseball, Miami Marlins baseball. We're talking a little bit of golf with Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods is not that great anymore. But just let me go back to talking about Tua. And I have to bring this to the attention of my listening audience. All right? We look at Tua. And we look at Tua compared to Matthew Stafford. Tua threw for 4,624 yards, 29 receptions, and quarterback rating of 101.1. 101.1. And once you look at that, you try to figure out exactly what's happening compared to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford threw for 3,965 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, and QBR rating 63.5. All right, all those numbers. The only number that's better than Tua, is the interceptions. That's the only number that is better than Tua is the interceptions. Then we go Dak Prescott, who is making some money also. All right? Dak Prescott, 4,516 yards last season, 36 interceptions, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and QBR rating of 105. Those numbers are closer to Tua, but are still not as good as Tua. It's still not as good as Tua. All right? Then who do we have here now? We have here Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson threw for 3,678 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. The only thing that's better there than Tua is the interceptions, 7 interceptions, compared to Tua's 14 interceptions. All right? The QBR rating is about just the same. All right? Pat Mahomes, the great Pat Mahomes, who's making almost $1 billion. almost $1 billion. All right, $500 million. All right, and Pat Mahomes, 4,183 yards, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. QBR rating 92. All right, Tua, 4624 yards, compared to Mahomes 4183. 29 touchdowns compared to Mahomes 27. He has 2 more than Mahomes. Interceptions are the same. But look at the QBR rating. QBR rating. Quarterback ratings 101.1. Patrick Mahomes 92. All right. Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy played pretty good. 4,280 yards. And then you have 11 interceptions and QBR rating 113. So Brock Purdy is right there, but Tua numbers are still better. Tua numbers are still better. All right. And you look at other quarterbacks. Josh Allen, the great Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills. He threw for 4,306 yards. Tua threw for 4,600. That's about 300 or more yards better. Josh Allen, 29 touchdowns. Tua with 29 touchdowns also. Josh Allen, you know, he throws interceptions like a bunch of rice grains falling from a bag of rice. Interception after interception. Once you put pressure on Josh Allen, he just throws them all over the place because he believed he could complete any pass in the NFL and no one could stop him. So he is out there just throwing the ball all over the place, but he's picked off a whole lot more than Tua, and his QBR rating 92.2 compared to Tua 101.1. And all of these quarterbacks making more money than Tua. Something has to be done. What is Miami doing about Tua? When is Miami going to sign Tua? And this has been going on from the time the season ended. As a matter of fact, if Miami was smarter, they should have given Tua that contract last season. And if they had given that contract last season, they didn't have this to worry about now. Because right now, they are trying to sign him, and Tua has rejected. Tua took that contract, and I hear he just tear it up, just threw it in the garbage. Not literally speaking, but he just threw the contract in the garbage. All right? So when is the Dolphins going to be serious about the Miami Dolphins? All right? The Dolphins need to do a much better job with Tua, so Tua could be a part of the Miami Dolphins going into the 2024-2025 season. And not until this is done, the Miami Dolphins would be ready for the season, because you need a quarterback who is going to continue to practice with Tyreek Hill, continue to practice with Waddle, continue to practice with all the running backs. They have some really fast running backs right now from the Miami Dolphins. And we need these players in place in order to have that chemistry. If you don't have that chemistry, how can you win? You know what chemistry is? Chemistry is being on the same page, and even though a team knows that you're going to do something, they cannot stop you because you're that good, because you have that chemistry and you have that edge. And the Dolphins need to have Tua in camp in order to have the chemistry and have the edge so that the Dolphins could be unstoppable. And last season, the Dolphins appeared to be very unstoppable. It was very difficult to stop the Miami Dolphins offense. All right? And I can recall one game that they lost against the Philadelphia Eagles. There were 15 penalties against the Miami Dolphins. Imagine 15 penalties. 15 penalties that were called against the Dolphins, or how should I say it now? 15 penalties that were not called, that was committed by the Philadelphia Eagles, that the Miami Dolphins didn't benefit because the refs didn't call it. All right? And 2 of them I can remember specifically. There was a throw to a wide receiver on the outside, and just before he was able to make the catch, the defensive back, the corner or the safety from the Philadelphia Eagles, grabbed the face mask, turning it away, causing the Dolphin player not to be able to run into the ball and catch the ball. And right in the front of the black and white stripe, the ref was right there on the scene, and the ref did nothing. He didn't throw the flag, he did nothing. All right? Then when you check it, I think Mostert was the running back, the end zone, and the defensive back most busted arms and prevent him from catching the ball. And that was on 2 occasions. The Miami Dolphins was within 7 points and was getting ready to take the game over. And if they weren't within 7 points, the game was tied. So they were ready to control the game. But when you have bad calls like that, that happens in the game, it's hard to win. Because when you look at it, the Miami Dolphins, you're playing the 11 man on the field. You're also playing the refs, and you're playing all the fans who are pulling against you. So how could you win like that? It's very difficult to win like that, especially if you play in another stadium and you're not playing in Miami. It's very difficult to win under those circumstances. And that caused the Dolphins to lose a big game in Philadelphia. A big game. And the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, Tyreek Hill dropped a touchdown, easy touchdown pass in the end zone. The ball thrown right to him. He had it, and he ran in the end zone. The ball came out of his hands. And then the second issue or second big problem they had in that game, Tyreek Hill caught a ball in the Kansas City Chiefs territory. I think it was at the 40 or the 35-yard line, and held on to the ball so long that the receiver jarred it away, took the ball away, and caused a fumble. Literally took the ball out of Tyreek Hill's hand, took it out of his hands, and ran in the end zone. All right? So the Dolphins right there. The Dolphins, they are right there. They just need to do what they need to do. They just need to be more focused. They need to be more committed. The organization need to sign their players when they need to sign their players. Because when you look at it, right, Robert Hunt, one of the best guards in the NFL, all right, they let him go. All right? They didn't want to sign him. They didn't want to give him the money. Then you look at big Christian Wilkins, who played some of the best football last season. All right? Played some of the best football last season. They let him go. All right? So I'm trying to figure out, you need to find quality. Have good reason to sign these players and keep these players. Now you're replacing these players with other players from other teams, and now they have to build up the chemistry with the Miami Dolphins in order to win football games. All right? So when is the Dolphins going to do the right thing? When are they going to sign players, keep them signed, and keep them here for a very long time, and don't let them go? Because right now, Tua is in the last year of his rookie contract, making a few $1 million, taking care of his family. But the thing is, if they don't sign Tua, someone else could sign him because he'll be a free agent, he'll be out of his contract, and he's gone. And we cannot let a good player like Tua go. If we let him go, the Dolphins would be in shambles. The Dolphins would be the laughing stock of the NFL. So Chris Greer, Stephen Ross, other executives who are part of this signing process, who deals with contracts for Miami Dolphins, please do the right thing. Sign Tua. Get him back in Dolphin camp. Get him back being happy. Because right now, Tua is not a happy camper. And Tua, he's doing the right thing. He's showing up despite what is happening to him in Miami. He's showing up despite the Dolphins taking a long time to pull the trigger. All right, either you can sign him or not sign him. All right, and it's too much long talk. And I cannot see how a good player like Tua his contract is taking so long to be signed when he was so outstanding last season. And not only outstanding, Tua lasted the full 17 games plus the preseason. All right, the whole 17 games, and that's the reason why he was so good. He lasted the whole 17 games, and he played awesome football. All right, so we need to get some things fixed in Miami, and hopefully the Dolphins would see the value and see a good reason why they should keep Tua in camp. And please do not let another team pick him up, because guess what? If another team in the AFC picks Tua up, just remember the New England Patriots. They don't look too good right now. They don't have a good quarterback, and Tua is better than the quarterback that they have there. So imagine if the New England Patriots picks up Tua. What will happen? All right? Because right now that team needs a good quarterback. And if you would know the history between Tour and the Patriots, you know Tour is perfect against the Patriots. Tour has never lost to the New England Patriots. Never lost to the New England Patriots. All right? And I don't think he ever lost against the Jets. All right? He's beaten those teams. I think he has a perfect record, if I'm not mistaken, against the Jets and the Patriots. All right? The only team that has beaten Tua over and over again is the Buffalo Bills. And 2 years ago, in 2022, Tua beat them. All right? I had another opportunity to beat them in the playoffs and came, I think, about a point or two shy of beating them also. Up in Buffalo, as a matter of fact. In Buffalo. All right? So, but we have to do some things. The Dolphins need to do some things. And to keep the fan base happy, to keep the fan base satisfied, to keep the fan base interested, to keep the fan base from buying all the season tickets, to keep the fan base energized, the Dolphins need to sign Tua. All right? And I will be making noise every single night. Every single night I'll be talking about Tua, even though we will be talking about other sports or other athletes or other players from the Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna send this carrion call home for Tua. Because the Dolphins need to stop doing what they're doing and sign Tua. All right? And you know, we cannot go very far without a good quarterback like Tua at the helm and doing what he's supposed to do as a Miami Dolphins quarterback. All right? So with that said, there are some other things I would like to just brush up on before I leave here. We're going to be talking, in the future, we'll be talking about other sports, as mentioned earlier. We'll be talking Florida Marlins. Right now, we have Josh Chisholm. And you know, the Marlins isn't playing very good baseball right now. But lately, they have been in some games, but I think they're dead last in their division. And I believe it's because the pitching, they don't have the pitching. Two of their superstar pitchers are hurt right now and are not playing. So that's some of the reason why the Marlins is not playing good baseball. But they're doing their best, and our little Bahamian boy named Josh Chisholm is playing awesome baseball there in Miami. So I want all Bahamian fans to continue to support Josh Chisholm and support the Marlins. Wherever Josh Chisholm go, I will be supporting the team because you know we have to support our Bahamian athletes. We should support our Bahamian athletes, but I would still be a Miami Marlins fan, but I would still support wherever all my Bahamian athletes play. All right. Then we have a few basketball players in the NBA who is playing some really, really good basketball. We have Buddy Hield, who is playing for the Philadelphia 76ers. And then we have another player from Nassau who is playing, I think, for one of those other teams. That doesn't come to mind right now, but we need support all Bahamian basketball players. And hopefully one of them will be on the championship team, just like how Michael Thompson was with the Lakers, just like how Rick Fox was with the Lakers also. And hopefully we could have a lot to cheer about in the Bahamas as relates to all NBA players. All right, and going back to baseball, we still have quite a few baseball players who are playing in the minor leagues, and hopefully one day they could get to the major leagues to play professional baseball. So let's continue to cheer them on. Let's have some fun doing it, and let's not forget all track and field stars. We have Shawnee Milovivo. She has a very good bounce back after having a child, and she is right there in the top ranks. And then we have quite a few youngsters on the scene who are making their way up in track and field on the world stage at a very high level. All right. And then locally, we have basketball here in Exuma, basketball, I guess, in other islands and other sports being played in other islands. I encourage all Bahamians to go there and support our athletes as they continue to have fun playing sports. All right. Just one or two things about the great Tiger Woods. Sometimes it's hard to watch Tiger Woods right now because he isn't playing at the level I think he should be playing at. Probably because he might be over the hill now and he is injured from that car accident he was in quite a few years ago. and he's trying to make a bounce back, trying to win 2 or 3 more majors with Jack Nicklaus. And let's see what happens. And he picks the tournaments he wants to play in, because physically he cannot do it anymore like he used to play in all the tournaments. And I guess fire has to light in a bottle, and hopefully it lights when Tiger will start to play again. And hopefully he could have 1 or 2 of those great tournaments and pull out another major. But it's going to be challenging because you have bigger, stronger, better golfers than ever before. The game of golf has changed a whole lot because of, I guess, players not only going to play golf, but they in the gym and they get in shape too, and they're bigger and stronger and they're better. So Tiger Woods has a big challenge on his hand. Hopefully, before he officially puts the putter down, before he officially puts the driver down, before he officially puts the 7-iron down, hopefully he could be much, much better and get back and win those 3 majors that right now is escaping him or slowly eluding him right now. And hopefully he could win a major coming up. But the main concern is that I'm happy that I'm here doing this, and I'll be doing this on a nightly basis, talking about the sports as mentioned. I'll be talking as much sports as possible every single night. Whenever any issues come up, I'll address them as I could. And we can have a wonderful show. I love talking sports, and I'm going to do my best to give you the best product out there. I'm going to be the best sports person here on the island, and hopefully I can be the best, probably worldwide. Who knows? But guess what? The sky's the limit. I am just starting. The sky's the limit. I know I always tell every time I go out, I have my motivational talk sometimes. I always say, you only get out of something what you put in. What you get in, what you put in, that's what you get out. All right. So I'm going to give it my best effort, show the best attitude, give the energy, give the passion. I love passion with energy, and this is what it's all about. And this is what makes me happy sometimes. All right. But there are a lot of things I will be discussing as time goes on, and other things that's happening in the Bahamas or in the world. But my main thing will be talking about sports. With that said, I will sign out. And next time, tomorrow night at 8 p.m., I'll be back on talking Miami Dolphins, Marlins, Heat, track and field, whatever we want to talk about. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. And let's enjoy this life, man. Life is too short to be sad. Just be happy and glad. And guess what? You'll enjoy your life as you go along this life journey. So let's have fun and let's do this. And guess what? Let's be the best we can be. And guess what? A word of encouragement. Be the best you can be in anything you want to be. Just give it your best effort. Give it your best attitude. Give it your best feet forward, foot forward. And guess what? You will be the best. And people will notice that you're not only the best, you're better than all the rest. But with that said, I am out. And we'll be talking Miami Dolphins, Florida Marlins, Heat, track and field, Bahamian athletes, Bahamian sports. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow night.